And wherever you start in life is not where you have to end. And I can guarantee you that STEM will change your generational trajectory from wealth, from happiness, from mental and physical wellness. It will change your family's trajectory. So trust the process, put in the work, decide where you want to be within the STEM field, and stick to it. You can do it. You can be successful, and you could absolutely be the change you want to see in your life. Hello, you guys, and welcome to STEMtopia with Yasania. So, today's video is going to be about 10 reasons why women and girls should consider joining STEM. And on this channel, I like to say STEM Plus. I feel like STEM is an acronym that we came up with so many years ago, and so many other fields have been created or added since then. So you may hear me say STEM Plus, and that's essentially STEM, but more new school. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so I think one of the biggest reasons why women should consider joining STEM is financial independence. And you guys, I'm going to be looking off to the side. I do have some notes and all of that because I wanted to really make sure I gathered my thoughts and I'm sharing all of them with you the way they should be shared. So, number one is financial independence. And I know people always say it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's how you're saving it and investing it and all of those things. And that's important. But the reality is, if you cannot afford your rent, if you cannot afford your mortgage, if you can't afford childcare, what are you going to do? Right? You don't have enough to invest. You don't have enough to share. So, first and foremost, I think one of the biggest things about being in STEM is it's one of the career fields that pays very well very early on. So, if you think about maybe 1, 2 years out of school, you could already be making six figures. So, this is very different than working a job that may be paying you a low hourly wage or some other sort of job. So number one is financial independence. You could pay your bills, you can go on your vacations, you could pay for your kids to do whatever, and you still have enough to invest and grow and get yourself out of a situation that you may not necessarily want to be in. Okay, that's number one. And STEM gives you a seat at the table when you are knowledgeable about your area, right? When you're knowledgeable about science, technology, engineering, mathematics, AI, you have a seat at that table. You could go and build your own table when you want to, but you first sometimes need to sit at another table to even realize how is this table built, right? That could be a whole nother video. But oftentimes you cannot jump from no seat, from no table to building your own. And I think STEM is really a great launch pad or stepping stone or a whole building if you want it to be. So you get this information, you get this knowledge, you apply yourself, and it will absolutely give you a seat at the tables that you want to be at. And once you're at that table and you understand how it works, how it operates, how that table was built, where the legs came from, where they got the chairs, how it was sourced, then you could decide, hey, I want to build my own table. Okay. And you get the seat at the table, right? And this is great. And this also leads to leadership opportunities if that is what you want. And that may mean leadership in an organization, it may mean leadership in your own business, it may mean leadership in your family for being a more present parent or present partner, whatever it may be, right? So take these things into account when exploring different career fields. STEM should absolutely be on the top for women. It is going to allow you to grow into the person that you want to grow into. And also, STEM does not have to be the first and last leg of your journey. It could be a launch pad for you. It could be where you start your career to build your funds, to become an entrepreneur, or to become a business owner. As I mentioned earlier, STEM pays well. STEM provides flexibility and mobility. And in saying that, you have to understand that it leads to better cognitive health. It leads to better emotional and mental health. When you have these things in place, you could be more successful in achieving the life you want to achieve. You could be more successful in actually gaining clarity about what your goals are. And I do want to say, I don't believe your career always has to be your passion or has to be your end goal. But if you're doing it, you should be good at it and you should be committed to it. That means putting in the time that's required, doing what is required of that job, serving it well, but also remembering that you are an individual, right? And a job is a job. You have a family, you have hobbies, you have goals, you have these things. So it's all about prioritizing that, like we always do. And the more you become better at this job in STEM, the more choices and options you're going to have when it comes to how you want to lead your life and raise your family. Also, representation matters. Women in STEM are severely underrepresented, and I personally believe that's for a number of factors, right? And I'll get into that in a separate video. But representation is important. You want to see women in STEM, you want to see girls seeing women in STEM so they know that they could do it themselves. When you see representation, it then has the ability to reduce that low number of women that we're seeing in STEM. And, sometimes we may see this with other professions like manual labor, and they'll say, well, women don't want to be in those fields. A lot of STEM is not manual labor, it's not based on your physical strength. A lot of it is based on your cognitive ability, your ability to solve problems, your ability to think outside of the box or know that there is no box. Sometimes your ability to multitask, your ability to prioritize, your ability to lead, or your ability to follow. And I personally know that these are innate values that women carry. We can lead, we can follow, we multitask, we have the ability to think critically, we have the ability to be creative, we have the ability to be savvy, right? And now we're just applying it within the context of that particular field. So representation is important. Women are capable, girls are capable, but we just have to keep putting it in front of them to say, you can do it. Don't be discouraged. There are people here that look like you. There are people here that share your story, and you're very welcome. Yes, it may take work, but it's absolutely worth it. Another big point here is the ability to build wealth, not just survive, not just scrape by. You can truly build wealth from your income working in the STEM field. Oftentimes, you have the ability to consult, you have the ability to create your own consultancy, whatever. Or even if you're working for a company, you can negotiate a really great salary. And like I said, get the knowledge of how to use that money so it doesn't go out the door before you actually get it in your hands. Use it and invest it well, and it will treat you great. And you literally can build wealth for yourself and for your family and generations to come if you utilize that money correctly that is coming in. A piece of working in STEM that is a driving force for me is the flexibility in career mobility. You can literally work in any sector. You could literally go to the government, you could work private, you could open your own company, you could open your own consultancy. If you're doing the 9 to 5 route, you have the ability to work remotely. A lot of companies offer that, or work on a hybrid basis. You could work outside of the country. There are so many amazing benefits that come from working in the STEM field. And now, this is not for all positions. If you're doing a position where you're hands on with people, then you obviously have to go in. But if you're working a position where you're primarily reviewing documentation, advising, whatever it may be that doesn't actually require physical touch, then you could do that remotely. And I think that's really big. So for me, I work remotely, and I do truly appreciate that flexibility. I have the ability to drop my children off to school in the morning. I can pick them up. I can have that time and build my schedule around the things that are really important in my life, which at this point, it's being a present mom for my children. So that's really important to me. And whatever that may be for you, a career in STEM is definitely going to help you gain the flexibility and mobility that you may need to achieve those goals of yours. I would also say that being in STEM gives you confidence as a woman, the ability to solve difficult problems, the ability to complete a project, the ability to master a skill. It builds confidence, and it's not confidence that comes from external validation. It's the confidence that's only developed once you know you were capable of this because you've done it and you've done it and you've created reproducible results over and over. So, being in this field is going to allow you to develop even more confidence in yourself. And this leads into the other point. I would say that this gives you some ownership of your future in order to live the life you want, in order to have autonomy over your time and a lot of other factors, you need to have that financial ground. And there aren't a whole lot of fields that you go into 9 to 5 that is going to provide that to you as quickly as a career in STEM does. When you're in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and let's say plus now utilizing AI, you have the ability to get there exponentially faster than someone who is not in that industry. Like I said, 1 to 2 years out of school, more than likely you're already making six figures, right? So take that into mind. And I would say, with that being said, a caveat is knowing how to then manage that money that you're making. You're going to be making a lot of money relatively early, so you do acquire the proper know-how of how to invest that money. Use it, invest it, save it, all of the things, right? Find someone who could help you in that.